I can't
Welcome.
tell if I can. Oh, hey, good evening, babies. It's your boys, the Flashing People podcast. Scott Stockton, Elmer Escobar, TNK Photo. You were asking if I could hear your fan. I can't tell if I hear that or if it's this shitty laptop of mine's fan.
All
So
right. I don't
I
hear
think
you
you're okay.
perfectly. Yeah.
Speaking of fan, did you get me a warehouse fan for when I come over in a week?
No, something better. We got well. You're gonna have to sleep in the dog's rooms or room because we got fans installed in my office, in the bedroom, and in the dog's room, but not in the guest room.
Well, I
So I mean,
enjoyed sleeping in the your office the last time. It was comfortable.
well, we set you up there because Angelique's parents were here, right? Or my parent or my mom. I forget.
No, it was Angelique's parents, and that was when your boy had was emotional and stressed out, and Angelique kept sneaking me Xanaxes every night. You didn't know about that. Don't tell her.
Are you kidding me?
Every
Is
night
that
she
when
gave
you
me a
were going to bed
Xanax.
too early?
Yes,
Animal
I had.
behavior. You know, I would never approve of that.
I know that's why we did it in silent.
Because I remember I'm like it's 10:30 at night and you were in bed already. That's white people behavior too. Because my
The
family
white
would
people.
never give Xanax to anybody. We don't even know. I've never had one in my life. I don't know.
It is white people behavior. Yeah, no, because see, white people behavior is we love to say that we have anxiety. We love to say that we have depression. We're very and so because this was during like the breakup with me and Little Shorty, and so your boy was struggling, and she was like, "Here, pop one of these, drink you some water," and it sent me off to Never Never Land. So I'm not mad about it.
I'm gonna share a little family information with you. I'm not gonna share too much. But do you think my father had anxiety when he was in the middle of a fucking civil war and there were bombs going off around him? No. That's why we don't listen. I'm gonna sound like a caveman to a lot of people right now, but that's why we don't believe in that bullshit. Because it's like most of the little problems that we have, when you look at them on a big scheme, on a big scale, dude, just fucking deal with the problem. And I'm gonna get upset, and angry, but like
It's white people problems.
it really life is so fucking good that we have to come up with bullshit to complain about. Really.
Yeah, your boy was complaining about a lot of shit. That's
Bullshit. Bullshit.
I know. Yeah, that was a man. That was a rough little trip. It started out with a
It was a
bang, and then I
wonderful
started
trip.
getting emotional.
We were having a whole lot of fun. You were in your head a little too much. I'll say that. I think that
Yeah.
was the issue, and that's why this trip is going to be better.
Oh yeah, no, my dude, my mental state right now, bulletproof vest, dog.
Well, you've been
They
going
can't
on
get.
dates and everything.
Yeah, they can't get in here now. I'm ready to rock and roll. And then we got Mulan. Mulan gonna be creepy. What was that
All right,
photo Angelique sent?
that wasn't Mulan.
Okay,
Yeah,
praise. Listen, praise the motherfucking Lord, because when I saw that, I was like, that can't be Mulan.
it was not. Don't worry.
She
But
see this why her and I
uh-huh.
butt heads because she be beefing with me like that. She tried to fuck with me.
That's not a good friend. I would never do that to you.
You're right. She's been disrespectful all day, probably to both of us.
Most definitely.
Yeah, she was disrespectful. She hung up on me on the phone call. It was. I've never seen her so reckless.
Have I ever hung up on you?
Never. True friendship.
You goddamn right.
True friendship.
And on
Yeah.
that note, let's inform the people what we decided we were going to have a little bit of I guess a
Mailbag
theme.
Monday.
Mailbag Monday. All right, that's what we're calling it.
We just coined
And
that right on the fly.
and what this is going to be is I probably should have asked earlier, but I asked in the afternoon any topics that people wanted to touch on. So I think on Monday maybe we'll start or whatever we'll start asking questions and compile them. You want to read off the first one? I'll let you pick it. It's at the top. I put like four of them.
I like this. So this came into us from Eddie. Bride slash groomzilla situations, difficult guests or family members. I mean, I've had, you know what? I would probably tell you the worst situation I've had wasn't so much with a bride, it was with one of the bridesmaids. So, what had happened with this is this girl she got proposed to, she got engaged, she's getting married, she started reaching out to photographers to shoot her wedding. Now, her best friend is a photographer. but she's not going to shoot the wedding because she's in the bridal party.
Mhm.
And she's also shit. So I hope she's watching this because she gave me a tough time this day. So fuck you, lady. She was second guessing everything. I could see her whispering to the bride this day, I don't know. I don't know if we should be doing that just yet. Like she was like, she just kept, she was making, to try to make herself look better, she was making the bride uncomfortable. And it
If
just,
I can, that's pretty much like when you hire contractors. I think a lot of people that have done any sort of renovations in their house, it's the same idea when they walk in and they go, "Who did this? Did they even know what they're?" It's like that. Like I'm not here for you to fucking judge us, and especially in your case, it's like if you're a, here's what shows me that that person is not really a professional. I've been to one wedding as a guest, and when they were doing their thing, dude, I don't give a shit. Like you hired them, clearly you trust them, so why am I gonna make you feel bad about the choice that you made? That's what she was doing.
yeah, she was just being and I, like, cunt behavior when you see it. And she had the facial expression that day, every time I walked in, the facial expression of a cunt. As soon as I walked in, like I knew she was up to something cunty.
Mhm.
And like people were looking at me, and I'm like, every time I leave this room I feel like this bitch is doing everything she can to make sure that there's no faith in what I'm doing. And this is after I've been shooting for a while. The boy's
So,
always been clean.
so let me ask you a question about this: Is how did you deal with that situation?
So I would just try to reassure the bride that everything's good. It's hard when you feel like you're getting undermined though as soon as you leave the room. Oh, I don't know. So like it's just, and that was my first time being around some cunt behavior like that. So what I was doing was I was forcing myself just to stay focused and keep working. You know, if I got to go get the groom, if I got to go do that, like just stay focused, head down, keep going. But it was just frustrating as fuck to like constantly have this piece of shit. And boy, the looks I was giving this bitch for the rest of the night, I was giving her the look of, I know what you're doing when I leave the room. You're a twat and you need to stop that.
See, here's my approach with that. I pretend I don't hear them. I've had
I can't.
situations where like a bridesmaid will be like, "Well, my photographer did this," and I'm looking at her and I go, "All right, well, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna do this." Like, I genuinely don't even acknowledge them because I go, "I don't. The fuck you want me to tell you? Then go get him. I don't or her. I don't know where they are." But what we're doing is something to make things efficient, so then they can enjoy their party. So let me do my job, so that way you all can go and get drunk and have fun. So to me, like I just don't acknowledge them. When it's a bridesmaid
Yeah.
or a groom, what I don't give a fuck, dude. And I literally like they'll be like, "Well, my photographer did this," and oh, come on, guys, we're going this way. Like I genuinely don't acknowledge it because what am I supposed to tell you? You know what I mean? Like I just keep moving about my life and we get things done because the bride, your friend, whatever, they trusted us. So for me to start questioning myself doesn't really reflect well on me as a professional. Like I know what I'm doing. Now, if you give me a good idea, sure, we can try it. But a lot of the times what you're saying is, you get that overzealous person and you just gonna have to mitigate it. Now, if it's like with Eddie asked also like difficult guests or family members, if it's a mom or a dad, we've gone over this before. And I said this actually to a dad over this weekend because we were discussing it. And something came up, something about like, professionalism and like in a good way. And I said, a lot of the times like we'll run it. He might have asked me about difficult, people. And I said, a lot of the times, honestly, like I'll have a dad who kind of is looking at me like to see if I know what the fuck I'm doing. But as soon as he sees that I'm unshakable and things are going to run smoothly, they usually relax. It's just they're trying to see if you're going to take care of their daughter. And I would never fault a dad for being that way. That's like, Ella getting married. You're going to make sure that the people are there know what the hell they're doing. So parents, I never have an issue with it because I see where it's coming from.
Yeah, I don't have many issues with the parents. I only had an issue with that bitch because I knew exactly what she was doing. She was trying to make it seem like she was better, or she knew. It was just a weird play for a friend to do on your best friend's wedding day, to try to create drama or a scene. That's the last thing that as a professional photographer knows, the last thing I want to do is create stress for anybody that's involved in the wedding. I want to do the opposite of that anytime something pops. So for her to do that, man, but no, I was shooting Shorty the craziest looks for the rest of the night because you're more professional than me and I'm a petty bitch. So
No,
the
hey,
pettiness was shining.
don't get me wrong. I can be very petty, but you have to push me to that limit because the entire time I'm ignoring you because I'm not letting you into my space, into my happy place in my brain when I'm working. If you get past that, I'm going to turn into a real prick. So let's just pray we don't get past that line. And I'm very good at, keeping it within those guidelines before I turn into a fucking dickhead. So
Mm.
99% of the time I won't go there. There's that 1%.
And she was the maid of honor, and I doubt she'll do that again. I slashed a tire and stole her license plate. So fuck that bitch. She fucked with the wrong one that day.
Scott's cartoon going off in his head again.
Yeah, I was like, you know what I could do? When I take my break, I could go out there and find her car and just slash these tires.
See,
Because look, I always got a shank on me because I never know if somebody going to get out of control.
gotta
We
make
could get
sure.
we could get some stabbing action going real quick on them tires, and they would never know who did it.
Unless they watch the Flashing People podcast.
Yeah, that's a problem. Maybe we're gonna cut out this last 3 minutes
Yes. All right. Next question. Um, Let me see
on a
here.
mailbag Monday. The boys went to the mailbag. We're
Let's
used to
see.
getting
Next
other
thing.
bags.
So yeah, after getting a bag on the weekend, we do mailbag on Monday. So Nicole Lindsay asked about our lighting setup. We're not going to get too geeky with this because I don't want to alienate people who listen who are not totally into photography. But what I said to her is, you're probably going to be surprised by something, and what that is how simple we keep it. Because if you don't mind, I'll go first. With
Yeah,
portraits, if I'm honest, 90% of the photos that we shoot are natural light. I know it doesn't seem like it with the photos that we post on social media and stuff like that. And that's why whenever I have a consultation with a couple, I reiterate that we are a lot more about capturing moments and keeping our technical side simple over being overly difficult with our setup and then missing moments because we're trying to get everything perfect. Life
yeah,
isn't perfect, and it's okay to get some things that look a little off and whatever. Like it's cool. You're capturing the energy and the essence of what's going on. Um, so for portraits, we keep it super simple. Usually one light, 180, 200. Sometimes we'll do two lights, so a backlight and a front light. And then lately, I've also been doing like a front light, just to, your main light, and then just a little edge lighting in the back. So not directly behind them, but like a little bit to the side, just to add a little separation, from them to the background. So with portraits, we keep it extremely simple. Ceremony, it depends on where we're shooting. If the church says we can't use flash, then fuck it, we don't use flash. Um, and a lot of the times I don't even like using flash because if we're using a 35 to 150 on the longer end or a 70 to 200 on the longer end, flash, it just doesn't look as good. I feel like the usually most churches have enough light because it's made for people to look at the front. So
yeah.
there's enough lighting there to capture it without having to pollute it with flash, I guess. And then I'll save the reception for after. Let me let you have a stab at it with portraits and ceremony.
Yeah, like ceremonies, I try to do everything I can to not use flash, and I just feel like it's distracting for like the guests. Like unless like I've had a couple of brides and grooms be like, listen, it's really dark in here. We want you to use flash, and I would tell them up front, like I'll consult them and be like, it is dark in here. I can use flash if that's what you want, and sometimes they'll be like, yeah, full send, do whatever you need. But most of the time, especially in churches, I mean, most churches, especially like Catholic churches, they're going to tell you can't use flash. And I actually am very okay with them telling me that. It's like, okay, fuck it. You just remove something that I have to think about. Now we're going natty light and we'll make it work. Um, for, um, for bride and groom or just portraits in general, I'm a lot like you. And we've talked about this before where I used to force flash when I first got into photography. It's like, oh, I need, everybody's doing it. I'm seeing everybody on Magmod. I want to be like them, so let me force this. And then eventually you get to a point where you're like, I'm using Flash in situations where I don't even fucking need it. Like I'm just using it to be using it, and I'm making my life complicated. So 99% of the shit that we shoot on a wedding day, no Flash
Hmm.
portraits. It's just and but it like you and I both like to do. If we want to do that creative shot, like a wide and stuff like that, yeah, we'll pull Flash out. But I typically just have 180, 200 on a stand with a sphere, and I always have the mag box handy on me. But for a wedding day, I just feel like it's easier to move about and quickly get stuff with just a sphere or a grid sphere combo. And I might save the box more for like engagements, or I always have it on me. If I want some soft light, I'll have it. But that's mostly the setup for that. And then receptions, we do things I think a little different. Like, but I've been kind of switching to doing things a little bit more how you do it. I used to put 4 lights around the dance floor during receptions. So, and I would have them all aimed in. So like picture a square, and I'd have one at each corner aimed in, so that and high up on a stand, angled down, so that anywhere I went, I would have even lighting. So I could just shoot any which way I wanted. But while those photos do look good, I like a more contrasty, because it would light everything. So the problem with that is like the star of whatever you're trying to shoot doesn't stand out as the star because everything else in the frame is lit too. So then I've come to a situation now where I'll put a light in the back as a backlight, and I'll either have an assistant with me holding the light next to me aimed at whatever I want them to aim it at, or I'll put it on like a small little light stand and just walk it around. So I've kind of evolved to a 2 light setup for receptions.
And the thing is, like I always say this to the team, is especially with reception photos, I've we've been shooting for so freaking long, and I can't remember, unless it's like a photo of grandma dancing on the dance floor, a couple ever wanting a dance floor photo blown up, or mainly like dancing photos for the album. They don't really care that much. So to me, if we're gonna throw a 4 light setup, and that's why you saw my eyes go huge, all I'm seeing is how many things can go wrong now. Because if the light doesn't go off and it didn't recycle quick enough, now you're screwed in it. Instead of capturing the moment, you were too concerned about it looking perfect. Which I keep saying this: there's nothing perfect in life. You know what I mean? Except for Scott Stockton, but but everything else, we're shooting a reception. I want to capture the moment and the energy, not worry so much about the technical side. So on that point, when they're walking in, usually I have my assistant either with a grid, so I'm channeling the light straight on, or most of the time, if I can bounce and it's going to look good enough, I'd rather do that. So mine and the second photographer, the same energy matches as they're walking in. Once we're doing the first dance, we usually decide, okay, if I'm with Jeff or Derek or Nathan that day, I'll go, okay, you do the creative, I'll do the safe, or vice versa. I'll do the creative, you do safe. So that way we know they're going to be shooting that with bounce flash more than likely, and I'll probably use a grid that my assistant is holding, and then I'll do like a super wide, and then just capture that. So that way we have creative shots, but we also have somebody covering the safe. If I'm shooting by myself, I tend to go usually more with just a safe, because I don't want to chance it and we miss them spinning or dipping because I'm trying to be creative. So you kind of have to outweigh it. And again, during dancing, sometimes I'll set up a corner light just to add a little backlighting, since usually what you want to do, Nicole, and I want to answer to her, is you're not shooting towards the DJ, right? So you're usually shooting away from the DJ because you don't want the speakers and all that crap in the background. So usually if the DJ is, let's say, right here, I'm going to be shooting this way. So I'll put my room light here or here and then shoot mostly this direction. If I
Yeah.
turn around and I'm shooting, if I have to for some reason, then I'll shut off the room light so it doesn't create a shadow of me shooting.
So I think what people might see from all this is like, especially for me, like the evolution of when I've started to where I am now, it's all been about making shit simpler. Stop making shit complicated. 4 lights at a fucking reception when I could just put one. Even if I'm shooting it alone, like this Saturday, I'm solo shooting a wedding. I'll just put a light in the back, and I'll have another light on a stand. Like just everything. over the past few years has been about why am I doing all this extra shit and making my life harder, and just simplify things, condense the equipment that I'm needing to use and carry around, and life's just been easier.
My goal for you for 2023 is to get rid of the wagon.
Damn,
It's
that's
time to get rid
heavy.
of the wagon
I
because
don't know, man.
I'm positive that everything you can do, because we shoot very similarly. So
Yeah,
I'm positive that the stuff that you can do carrying a lighter kit. So when you come with me to Yosemite, you're gonna see you've seen the stuff that I carry anyway. But I just just to make you more mobile, and so you don't feel like you have to carry all this crap. It's at the point now where we leave our the Pelican case with all the backup equipment. I leave it in the car, and I said to
yeah.
Caitlin over the weekend, I go, if shit hits the fan, run to the car and grab the backup camera. We got our second. He'll cover it for a minute. Like, we don't need to carry all this shit, because I also feel like it's dangerous, because if you leave it in an area, your stuff can get stolen. It's happened to some of our photographers. It's happened to me, actually. So it's just one less thing to worry about.
That's California for you there, right?
Well, I got my stuff stolen in Vegas at WPPI. Sergio got his stuff stolen at a city hall. And who else? Pretty sure other people.
Yo, that makes sense though, man. Las Vegas is dodgy.
Yeah.
That might be, and I'm not breaking. I'm not. This isn't a spoiler. That might be the shadiest town I've ever been in. There's a
There's
lot
something
of
about it.
weird shit going on there.
Yeah, I just it's not a place that you want to be for too long. And then granted, there's other areas outside of the main strip that are nice, but generally speaking, there's a certain energy that I could never live there. Yeah.
No,
No
fuck
offense to
that.
anyone that lives there. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to y'all. Amazing
All right.
city.
Let's do one more question. We have a few more, but let's do one more, and then what'd you say?
I said amazing city, beautiful people.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Remember
So
that time we were in Hollywood and saw that lady shitting in a Starbucks cup?
wait, come again?
Remember, was it 2 years ago when we were in Hollywood? Remember we drove by that Starbucks and there was a homeless woman right outside that Starbucks taking a shit in a grande cup.
Let me tell you this. So much shit happens here in California now that was a blip in the I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
We've seen so much stupid, crazy shit happening out here. Don't get me going down that path.
Oh no, I
I
remember
don't
it.
even remember it.
I remember it. I was like, "Whoa, Shorty's taking a shit in a grande cup? That's crazy." And that's it. Listen, that shows you what kind of load she was dealing with. That it was a grande cup and not a tall.
She needed all
But
that room.
could you imagine if she had to go in and say, "Can I get a venti cup real quick?" Let
Jesus
me get that.
Christ. Where was this? I don't remember. I really don't.
We were driving down. It was right when we pulled into Hollywood, like downtown, like not in the hills. We drove by a Starbucks,
We
and
were
remember
by
we
the
parked.
theater. By
Yeah,
the yeah, by the Chinese theater.
yeah. And then we parked, and then we got out and walked by. But we drove by that before we parked. This shit was
Yeah.
live out
And
there.
then you know what? Now it's ringing a bell. I remember. Yeah, it was on one of the side streets.
Yeah, something I'll never forget. But
Jesus
you know
Christ.
what? She was shitting into the cup, literally right outside the big Starbucks window. For the people inside were watching.
This is just animal behavior that goes on out here, man.
Hollywood crazy, bro.
Yeah. Um, let me see here. What? Or you know what? There's other topics. Let's talk about other topics. We'll bring another a question in at the end or something. Dun-dun.
Well, you know what? And
Mhm.
and and you fuckers out there listening, because it's literally right around the corner. This time next week, you and I are going to be fucking around California. Like, we're going to be dicking around. We might be doing sprints at this time. At this time, we don't know what's going to be happening. Because what time is it there for you right now? 7.
Yeah, just about to be 7. Yeah.
Oh, that's when the party's going to be getting started. Mulan going to be cruising through around 7. It's going to be crazy.
Jesus Christ.
It's going to be crazy.
You know,
I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward. Like, the past few days, if I've been having like a shitty moment in the day, I'll just start thinking about next week, because I know you, me, Taryn, we're gonna vlog. You got your Tamron stuff. I got this behemoth of a lens that they sent me, and we're just gonna be. It's just gonna, dude. We're gonna have so many fun memories from that, and we're going to vlog and I say this for myself with intention because I do too much shenanigans vlogging.
Uh-huh.
But I watched that Peter McKinnon video, or not Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat,
Hmm.
and so like I want to use that week in the way we vlog and I vlog with more purpose for good video and not just running around. Hey, what's going on in the kitchen?
Well, and if I can touch on that, I think that's one of my like a very big influence has been Casey Neistat. I remember watching him right in the pretty close to the beginning of him getting popular. I'm talking like I think like 2014. If he was out then around 2014, because I think I was still living in Arkansas. And one thing that I always took away from him is exactly what we were talking about a few minutes ago is his content is fucking amazing. The
Yeah,
shots that he does are incredible too. They're very thought out, but they look very simple. And I prefer that over like for example, and I do appreciate the aesthetic of Peter McKinnon, but I don't really like that over what's the word I'm looking for?
it's too cinematic. Like he's
Yeah.
trying. It's
So in my brain, I'm watching more of how pretty the color grading is and how pretty the shots are over what the story is.
what the story
And
is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Casey is the other side. And if you guys don't follow Casey Neistat on YouTube, you definitely should. Very entertaining guy. Um, but with him, it's not. There's no frills. Nothing. It is very cool. And if you understand cinematography or photography in general, you understand there's a lot of work that goes to these shots, but it's not so overproduced that it takes away from the attention that you're giving the story. And I think that that's kind of what I took away from Casey is make sure you're telling a story, make sure there's a purpose here. It's not just pretty photos.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right on that, man. He tells an amazing story. I would sit there and watch him on. He doesn't have a one wheel, I don't think, but like a skateboard or whatever he rides around the city
He
and
has a one wheel also.
collecting. He's got a one wheel. Man, I want a one wheel, but I know I'll fuck myself up on that.
Scott, how old are you? Well, it's Casey's up there too, but
Yeah, if
I
Casey's
just
doing
don't
it,
think
why
it's a
can't
good
I do
idea.
it?
Because every
I've,
time I see that, I just go, "That's an emergency room visit waiting to happen."
dog, I went to Target with Ella today because her and her friend were buying matching outfits for Twins Day tomorrow, and
Can
there
we
was
do
a
that?
guy. What's that?
Can we
Well,
do that?
oh yeah, yo, you know what we should do? Remember
What?
Twins, the movie with Arnold and Danny DeVito? We should set up like a little twins shoot, and Monkey can take the photos. Wouldn't
I'm
that be
down with that
funny?
actually. Yeah.
Because then, and look, we'll let her style us. We'll use the poster to Twins from the movie as like we'll give that to her and say, hey, something like this. We'll go out, let her style us, and then we just go. We'll pick a night, and then she has to shoot it, and we just go all over California, twinsing it up. Could you imagine those photos on the Flashing People podcast account? Should be
But I'm seeing a
fire.
problem. I'm seeing a problem here.
What's that?
I would need a chubby friend, and I don't got one.
There's still something in here. There's still some, there's still some milkshakes in here. Yeah, no,
All
I
right, that's
still
all
got
I need.
I got a cool 20 to go, but like, man, that'd be hilarious. We had to do
We'll,
that.
we'll kick that idea around a little bit.
Does Taryn shoot?
Yeah, he does. He does video mostly, and he has a drone and all that. Yeah, he's very talented.
Oh, we could definitely like if we took them little suits out there to Yosemite.
With
Shit,
Taryn, though, I
maybe
mean,
I'll propose to you out there.
that's a very big possibility. But with Taryn, we got to be careful because I think the couple might know him. So I got to run. I got to talk to him about that. If that's the case, he might have to chill while we do the proposal, and then we'll, meet up with him after. He's coming more for the
Yeah.
trip than anything else.
He's coming for the laughs.
Yeah, he's coming to hang out with the boys.
Man, I hope Taryn's listening to this. Yo, I fuck with Taryn hard. We had that
And if
night at that we had a lot of fun, right?
and if he's not listening, shame on him.
If he's not listening, fuck you tearing it up with Taryn. He's too busy digging up far right conspiracies right now.
I knew that
I
was
love you,
coming.
Taryn. I love you. Never change, Taryn. I
Let's
agree
see.
with all the far right conspiracies too. Let me put that out there. So while I'm slacking him off there, I do agree with most of what he's posted. Shout out
All
to
right.
the Political Flashing People podcast.
Here we go. All right, let's see here. I mean, it's pretty good. I like this. Somebody, it was on YouTube. Tim Kozina, Kozina, analysis paralysis when it comes to editing. We've been talking about this a little bit, where like
Yeah,
you put shit off for the longest time because you think it's going to take longer than it does, and then when you edit it,
yeah,
you're like, well, that didn't take very long.
yeah. Like those damn hair photos I had to fuck with.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes we'll get couples or families or whatever, and they'll have a request like, "Hey, can you remove this or can you blur this out or whatever the case may be?" And we think that it's going to take 3 hours to do, and when you run in there, it just takes a few minutes. That's my thing with albums, with wedding albums, and I've told you about this. Like I always think it's going to take like 4 hours, and then I'll do it, and it doesn't take nearly anywhere close to that.
Yeah,
So it's just a matter of just saying, fuck it, just get to it. So to Tim, just get to it. The best thing you can do is put some music on. One thing that I did is I put my phone on do not disturb and until I finished selecting the photos for a wedding. And you can breeze right through that if you just focus and don't pay attention to anything else. That's the hardest part with so much entertainment that we have in this, in this time, being in
yeah.
2023. In 1997, easy. I can sit there focusing. I was too young, but you know what I mean? Like, I can see that. Whereas now there's so many distractions that it makes it a little harder. But if you just shut that out for 20 minutes, you can select photos for an engagement session in 20 minutes, easy.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, yeah. There's just certain tasks where it's like, man, I don't feel like fucking removing all this hair. Like this is crazy, and then you put it off. But it's like, man, if you put it off, then it's just like that weight that's stuck to you until you fucking address it and be done with it. And then analysis paralysis with editing. So when I read that, I'm thinking like maybe somebody who's getting into photography or have been doing it for a while and they look at a photo and then they slap their preset on it and then they're not happy with it and they're like, oh, what do I do? I
Hmm.
used to have that when I first started, but now I mean, I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing every single time. I basically have one preset, and I know I use Imagen or Imagine or whatever the fuck it's called, but I only use that for weddings. Like
Hmm.
if like smaller shit, like just the engagement shoot, senior shoot, stuff like that, I'm just gonna edit it myself, and I slap my base fucking preset to it, and I spread that across every photo minus the white balance, and then I just go through and tweak light balance because we've been doing it long enough that we love the way we edit our photos. So they're for but I could see maybe if somebody's just kind of getting into it or only been doing it for a year, hell, maybe even 2 years, you're still kind of playing around and trying to figure out what your voice is. But after a while, once you figure out how you like your shit to look, you stop overthinking shit.
And going off of that, I think you understood the question a little better than I did because now I remember I did respond to him. So I'm going to make it more tailored to that. Exactly what you're saying is you're going to have to try a bunch of things until you figure out what works. But once
Yeah.
you figure out what works, it makes it extremely easy. The fact that we can edit engagement sessions so quickly or weddings so quickly is because we found a brand that works for us. So I didn't grab a preset from a preset pack somewhere. I created it based off of the style that we shoot. So we always shoot a little bit dark, knowing that we're going to push it and post it a little bit unless we're shooting like later in the evening when it's dark. Then we try to nail it as much as possible so we don't move it too much. But generally speaking, we're going to shoot dark, so that means that every single time we're pushing those photos a little bit, pulling the highlights down a little bit, pulling the what is it, texture down a little bit to make it a little bit softer. That's what we do anyway, because who doesn't want softer, cleaner skin? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
not so much where it looks like somebody blurred it, but like just a little bit down. So our preset is very, very simple. So when we put our preset on 90% of the photos, we're probably, just like you said, a couple of clicks away. So the best thing
Yeah.
to do, I would say, to answer Tim's question is pull out, your photos, something, a session that you shot. If you shot everything in manual, things should be pretty consistent throughout the entire shoot. For every single scene, there it's going to have, like, let's say I edit one photo, I could probably copy and paste the setting to the next 10, because if I shot manual, it's probably going to be pretty similar, and save that preset. Then you go to your more creative ones, you can save a preset more for those. But slowly you start building your own set of presets, which is only going to be one or two. For me, it's only one, and you said for you as well.
Yeah. And I always think of My style inside a preset is everything that I do with the sliders that are shadows, highlights, whites, blacks, contrast, texture, sharpness, and the curves. The stuff I adjust after slapping it is just white balance or maybe just a little bit of exposure up or down. But the style with contrast and colors and stuff like that is everything else in that preset. Like once you figure that out, you slap that motherfucker on all your photos, and all you're fucking with is white balance and exposure after that, which should just be, like you said, a few clicks here or there. And sometimes it's not even sometimes it's just perfect when you slap the motherfucker on if you're
Yep.
shooting exposed properly for how you set your preset up to begin with.
Exactly. Like once you start finding out what works for you, you're not going to deviate too far from it. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. It kind of applies to everything in life, really. So just keep playing with your photos, because if we send you our preset, it's probably not going to work for your photos. It very likely will not. So you have to find your own voice, and it only happens with time.
Yeah, the biggest scandal in all of photography is motherfuckers selling presets.
Yes, I posted a video actually on my YouTube channel on TNK Photo. If you guys want to go and check it out, it's about what I believe about presets. And to give it away, really what it is exactly that. Like you're not going to find the perfect preset. You're going to create it with time and experience.
Yeah, because they make it seem like it's one click, but whoever made that preset, you don't know if they shoot underexposed naturally or overexposed or so like they could shoot overexposed and you shoot underexposed and you slap that preset on, then you get discouraged because it doesn't look anything like what you saw. Like it's just silly. Figure out your own fucking voice and don't be out here wasting hundreds of dollars on bullshit. It's all
Yeah,
bullshit.
great. All right, Scotty.
So,
And what'd you do this last weekend? Let's get into that to top it all off.
oh, senior shoots and senior shoots. I was in Clemson with a cheerleader, which I always like shooting cheerleaders at Clemson because we can get into the stadium, the football stadium, which
Yeah, it's
is
cool.
which is really fun. The shitty thing about that is they have these little pellets on the field.
Hmm.
They're like rubber. I don't know what it's like. It's part of the turf. Every time I get off that field, my shoes are filled with these fucking rubber pellets.
Interesting. I wonder what that's for.
Have you ever
I don't
you
know.
you ever seen when like somebody gets tackled? I don't know what the pellets are for, but like they're on the field for some reason.
Somebody
Um,
let us know because I have no idea either.
yeah, I have no fucking clue. So
I
we
know
did
we
that.
I know we look like athletes, but we're not.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I don't know. I think we're getting there. We could be marathon run. Look, we're going to be sprinters. I think during next week. I envision us being in Yosemite somewhere sprinting for a
well,
video
we're
for a
doing that
vlog.
for sure.
And then I went to Davidson College, which I liken to Duke. It's like a private school, little hoity-toity. So if the chicks that I shot from Davidson are watching this, sorry, but it is what it is. Real fancy, but that one was a little more challenging because it was 10 seniors.
Oh yeah.
So it was a whole lot of lather, rinse, repeat. So like we would go to different spots, and I would shoot and we would do solos and I'd have to shoot each one individually over and over. So like as somebody who likes to just keep moving, that was I don't want to say frustrating. It was just like I don't know, a little
It
bit more
felt like
boring.
yeah, it felt like you wanted to do something more creative, but then you feel like you cheat this group out if you don't give them the same thing that you gave the other group. So it's I mean
Yeah.
I kind of view it like that when we shoot families. Like, we'll do this, then we'll break down into smaller groups, and then we'll go to another spot, then we'll do the same thing again. It is what it is. At that point you're playing a little bit more customer service and making sure that they get exactly what they want and everybody gets, the same treatment.
Yeah. And I used to not shoot like I used to not care to shoot much anything outside of couples, but they're quick and easy bags, so it's just like why not?
And they're fun. And at the end of the day, man, like, besides it being, you're getting paid for it, I genuinely enjoy. I've said this before, like shooting families, because it is a moment that is going to go by really quick. I think, like I've said this multiple times on this podcast, but as we're getting older, we're seeing like families that I shot 10 years ago, and the kid was like, yay high, and now it's like they're tall as hell, and it's like they're a grown adult, and it's like there was one family actually that I shot in Arizona who I shot I think in 2012, 2013. When we booked their family session in 2022, I didn't even speak with the mom this time. The daughter was doing all their coordinating. And I go, "Wait, weren't you like 14 when we shot last time?" You know what I mean? It's like, it's wild that like, but that's what I like about family photos or family sessions, that you get to document these moments. And they still have the photos from back then, and now they have these. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I've become more open to shooting those things. I was a little bullheaded for a while,
Well, because we discussed that a little bit.
missing out on bags because of just being too selective.
Silliness. Because if I'm being completely forthcoming with everybody that's listening, Scott used to get a little bit frustrated with like, how do you deal with kids and how do you deal with all. I go, it's not our motherfucking responsibility to make sure that the kids are behaving. That's not my kid. I'll tell you this: if I have a kid, he's going to behave, because just like my dad, he made sure that we behaved. Especially if my dad's, shelling out a few $100s to make sure that we get nice family photos. Your boy was behaving. There was
Yeah.
no or whatever. There is no option. I'm behaving. So to me, I
Yeah.
take that pressure off of myself. I go, it's not my kid. I can't tell him what the fuck to do. Mom, dad, would you like to step in?
Yeah. You
And
want to
my
control
job
this
is to shoot.
motherfucker?
Yeah, my job is to shoot. My job is not to parent your kids. And I think luckily 99% of our couples understand that.
Yeah. So this may be the last time we're on Riverside because they've been fucking around with us too much. I finally got that last episode, so I'm gonna upload that,
Okay.
which is just a shit show. Um, Thanks to everybody that really enjoyed the cow proposal from the last episode.
Oh my God.
We got the most real interaction we've had in a while. I loved Angelique's comment. She just said
Skinny
moo.
mini?
She goes moo. Mm. Yeah, no,
Jesus Christ.
that was a fun one. Yeah, so that one's still that's still a thing that's happening. I guess the whole livestock proposal. So I'll keep
We're gonna,
everybody posted with that.
yeah, we're gonna move on.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Riverside, we're gonna cancel this. I'll talk to you about it after. There was another program that I found. Eddie
You
actually,
trying to save Daddy from a lawsuit, huh?
is sure am. The first what's it called, comment, or the first question, Eddie, that was actually the person that recommended a different program. So we're gonna check that one out, and then there's another one that I sent you as well. So we're gonna see what works, so that way we can be more consistent. Because a lot of the times, like, we filmed it, but then we're dealing with some bullshit behind the scenes, and now we can't even post it. So you
Yeah.
know, we're gonna try to figure this out. Yeah, Eddie
And should
said
we
StreamYard, a competitor
stream
to
it?
Riverside, and Squadcast. Squadcast is the one that I've heard of. But StreamYard, I mean, I'm down to try it out. I mean, they got to
Yeah,
have,
'cause
some pluses.
I want to say that I think we're paying 50 for Riverside.
A month?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as much as the other one. But we'll discuss this. We'll discuss this after. Yeah.
And then maybe really quickly, just so we can go through the entire mailbag, Edgar Garcia said, "Do you print or get albums created in your packages, or do you only do digital file delivery?" I will say so. I deliver photos through something called Pixie Set, and something beautiful about Pixie Set, which is probably the same with you with Smug Mug, right? Is you can link a lab to your Pixie Set gallery, and it will say, like, if, for me it's Miller's Lab, and let's say it's 10 cents a print. You're able to then you're able to adjust it for your profit on top of it. So if it's 10 cents a print and you slap like an additional 5 cents or whatever, and then you get that additional piece. So I let them do prints from straight from their gallery, so I'm not having to do any work. And if they print, because I have that little markup there, I'm getting paid for that. I do offer albums, but I've taken them out of my packages just because I just don't want to deal with them. But I do have that if they want to buy an album with me afterwards, I'll run through it with them. But I don't know. I just found them to be a pain in the ass to have to fucking do those.
They've gotten, for me, and it's the same thing. Like, we give you the gallery, you can order prints from there. It's very simple, and everything gets delivered to you. With the album, we do give you the option to either add it on onto the smaller packages, or the big package already includes it. But to me, most couples, I feel like it's almost like a East Coast, West Coast thing. I'm back in New York when I used to shoot out there, everybody wanted an album. Like every single, well, can we do an album? It's like, fucking hell. I'm like, all right. Because it does take a little bit more time. It's not my favorite thing to do. But now, I've done it a good amount of times where it's like, I've gotten it down pretty quick. Um, but in California, like nobody really cares for it. Like 1 out of 100 clients are gonna want an album. But to me, it's just giving you that option. If you want the option, it's there, and I'm happy to do it. But it's not really something that I push, and it's not really something that there's a huge demand for in California. I've
Yeah.
found.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't get. I mean, I might end up doing like 5 or 6 a year.
But that's even more than I
So
do. I because the thing is
yeah,
also I guide our couples towards what I think works best. So to us, like that middle
yeah,
package with 8 hours with two photographers, they get five 8 by 10 inch prints. So that way, at least they get, some physical prints, and then they get all the images on a gallery. That's the one that I push for. The 6 hour one, which is our smallest one, that's if everything's in one location and it's a super simple wedding, like the one that we had on Friday. That was perfect. And then the 10 hour one is the one that includes the album, includes a USB drive, includes like, everything.
yeah.
But I always tell them, 8 hours is good if you have multiple locations. 6 hours is good if everything's in one place. So, to answer the question to Edgar about the albums, I don't really mention it because it's not really something that I care to do as much. But if they mention it, the option is always there.
Do you know Studio 81 Portraits?
It sounds familiar.
So he's always he's always interacting, and he's a really cool guy. But he was remember when I was asking what kind of tacos those were that we had at the boardwalk, or the
Hmm.
burritos or whatever. He hit us up with it's Edgar and Jennifer Garcia. So, but they're based out of California, and he's out there. Um, I don't know. I guess shout out to him, man. Thanks for interacting with us and riding along with us. But yeah, we might have to go. We might have to go get them boardwalk tacos, dog.
Is that what it is? Board, board.
That's where we. Well, no, that wasn't the name of it. It's something with B. Berea. I mean, he's gonna be like, he's gonna be watching this. I'm like, cocksucker, I told you in a DM. Why can you not remember? But no,
My
I have a
bad,
paper
Edgar.
trailer
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, I want to fuck with those tacos. I'm gonna fuck with those tacos, and then I think Mulan's bringing over some tacos.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be a Monday to remember, boy. What's
Yep.
Angelique doing?
I don't know. Upstairs. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, something we had flirted with earlier today, guys, is on our second podcast of the week, Therapy Thursday. His fiance Angelique want to pop down here and talk to you all about my dating woes. It kind of goes off the beaten path of a photography podcast, so I'm not sure about
Yeah,
it.
we're kicking that idea around. They want to do it, but to me, I go, it's just going to be Angelique disagreeing with me about everything. Because clearly, I don't know anything about dating, but somehow I bagged her. So the fuck do I know?
Yeah, we all gotta settle down with the ball buster. You know, they're all
Mhm.
busting balls out there. It's not limited to one situation, but yeah, I don't know. I thought her and I were. I thought she was just wanting to do like our own thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem to slap that onto the end of
You
a
know,
photography
well,
podcast.
let me ask this: who wants to hear about Scott's dating woes? Please leave a comment and let us know if that's a podcast that you would be interested in.
I don't know, dude. I gotta.
Just set you up.
I'd have to really think about how much of that I want to air out.
Everything. Because you guys don't know. You think a lot of you, if you don't know, you may think that me and Scott only get on here when we're talking on here, or we'll text each other here and there. We talk on a daily basis. So everything that goes on in Scott's life, I'm pretty filled in on what's happening.
Well, and that's why Angelique knows about it, because there's usually it's like we have a family meeting every night when you guys are eating, and y'all
And
call me and
morning.
put me on speakerphone and morning, and we talk about shenanigans.
Yeah, so after the podcast, we'll give you a call.
Yeah. Well, I'll be here fucking around.
And on that note, I think
All right, babies.
we've gone long enough. I think Let me see something. I think Friday we can film again. Are you good for that?
Yeah, I'm good Friday.
Oh, not Friday. We wanted to do Thursday. Let me see.
I'm
And
good every
Thursday.
day.
Okay. Yeah, we'll try. We're gonna film Thursday to try to release it on Friday. We'll use a different system to try to be as consistent as possible. But I think for now, we'll see you guys. Well, you know what? I fucking hate when people say that. We'll see you on the next one. I'm not gonna see you guys. So thank you for watching.
Yeah, fuck y'all. I'm playing.
No, no.
I'm playing. We'll film
Bye. We
Thursday, and I'll
love
see you
you.
Friday. Bye. We love y'all.